Okay, welcome back to the channel, Living in Thailand as a Foreigner. If this is giving you value, please subscribe to that. Smash that like button if this is giving you value. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about how I became a teacher here in Thailand. Okay, this is going back a long time. Back in March 1998 at my local high school, March 1998, a guidance counselor once told me, "Do you really think you can get a college degree?" And that question, that one day in March of 1998, led me to become a teacher. So let's dissect that. So how I became a teacher in 2011, I decided to go back to school to pursue a bachelor's degree in political science. I signed up for a speaking class from a friend who convinced me to take a public speaking class. And this would literally change my life. In 2012, I was taking classes on my day off at nighttime in order to pursue a history degree, but which led to a political science degree. So I saved up enough money, and later I got my degree. Okay, let's start again. In 2012, I was taking classes on my day off and at nighttime while working full time at my job. I then saved up enough money in order to get into Arizona State University, ASU, in Arizona. And there I majored in political science. Here, I would have a professor who would have a profound effect on how I became a teacher. Okay, now we're in 2013. I was still working to get the degree. So one day, a friend and I went to a local pizza shop. We got pizza and wings, and we started talking. What are you gonna do after you graduate? And I mentioned, okay, I want to try to be an FBI agent. I want to try to work in government, anything related to political science that I could get my foot in the door. So later during this conversation, I was telling him how I did a service learning class, and the service learning class was a gym teacher, a PE coach. So what I did was I coached these kids, and then I wrote about, kids with low self-esteem, low confidence, kids who have no discipline, how to solve their problems when I'm teaching them. So this coaching job, which was not paid for, it was part of a class at ASU, led me to get the experience to become a teacher. So in other words, I was coaching and teaching these kids life skills. Okay, so later there, I took another class to get my degree. It was in the Boys and Girls Club. It was inner city poverty, and I had the opportunity to teach and mentor young students, or teenagers rather, on how to behave and not use drugs and alcohol. And it doesn't matter who your parents were. You don't get to decide who your parents are, but you get to decide what type of person you would like to become. So I wrote about that. I did a speech in front of class at Arizona State University. And again, that experience led me to become a teacher. So now it's 2014. It's 2014. And at this moment, it's about 3 or 4 months before I'm graduating, and I decided to take as a political science major, I decided to take acting because I really thought I was going to be in politics. And what do politicians have to do? They speak in front of people. They speak in front of large groups of people. So I took this acting class, and I was not very good in the beginning. And at the end of the class, I was probably one of the top students during the final project. I mean, we did exercises such as role plays, soap opera skits, We did monologues. We did, I remember doing a TV commercial for Speed Stick, and word for word, a Speed Stick commercial from the 1980s. Okay, that led me to become a teacher, that experience. Why? That's talking in front of people. So let's fast forward May 2014. I graduate with my degree. So here I thought I was going to be in politics, government, or some type of business role. And lo and behold, I did not get those jobs. I was chosen to go to the final table, to go to those jobs. Now here, you got to remember, I'm 34 years old at this time. I'm competing with 22-year-old candidates, you know, and I don't have the degree that they want. They wanted the business degree and I didn't have it. So, I mean, I would go for jobs for Charles Schwab, for entry-level positions, for gym manager at the local gym, any kind of professional job I was trying to get. And unfortunately, it was a blessing in disguise. I didn't get those jobs, so it was somewhat of a happy accident. So after many years of after many months, 6 to 8 months of getting turned down at these jobs, I decided I was going to take it into my own hands and create my own opportunity. Now here, a friend of mine who's working at my former position, he kept saying, you have two choices. You could either continue to work in the casino or you can work on a cruise ship. And I didn't want to do that. I already had my degree at this moment. And he said, or you have another choice. You could teach English abroad. And he kept calling me each day. He kept calling me each day. He kept calling me. And I could tell that he was calling me on his way to work each day. And I said to myself, you know what? He's got something here. He's got something here. So after many, maybe 20, 30 of these conversations, no, it's too risky to move halfway across the world. It's just too risky. There's too much risk. And at that moment, after he hung up, for about the 25th or the 26th time, like 30 times, he would call me constantly. And he would call me on his way to work because he knew he probably didn't enjoy this job very much. And I thought at that moment, I'm going to seize the moment. I'm going to go to the Ajarn website and I'm going to look. Are there really jobs here? So I went to the Ajarn website and lo and behold, there was many jobs available as long as you had the bachelor's degree and the TEFL certificate. And I thought to myself, wow, this is an opportunity here. So then the very next day, I began selling all my belongings. I began selling everything. And then when I sold my couch and my bed, and I was literally sleeping on the floor the last 2 weeks of living in America, I said, nah, this is real. This is definitely real. All I got to do now is book the ticket. I have no furniture. All I have to do now is book the ticket, and it will be reality. So during that time period, I signed up for a TEFL class, which is teaching English to foreign language learners. I spent $1,500 on this class, and that led me to get the basic job. I took the class on how to teach. I passed the test. It was only a 4-week class, which is not very much training, but you should really have an education degree, which I do have. And that was a big step. That was a huge step. So a shout out to that person, you know who you are, that gave me the guidance, that pushed me to become an English teacher here in Bangkok. But then it even goes further. We even have to give credit to a guy at a local church. I didn't know how to write a resume. I didn't know how to write a cover letter. So one day, I was at a sandwich shop, which I went to the sandwich shop across from Arizona State University, and I met this guy, a church guy. And 2 or 3 months later, he would end up giving me this contact, go to this church and learn how to write a resume. And I have to give credit to this guy because he taught me 3 things in this 2-hour video. This 2-hour appointment. He says you need 3 things to be successful at a job. You need to make enough money, number 1, enough money. Number 2, you need to get along with all your coworkers. Get along with all your coworkers. And number 3 is it has to be challenging enough. And in that conversation that day, there was a man in the office that overheard our conversation, and he said, "Wow, that's the most interesting story you just told. You should become a teacher." So now we have this guy saying I should become a teacher in the office at the church. A local friend of mine said you should become a teacher at the pizzeria. Here's another guy. Now we have to go back to my professor. So 3 weeks before I graduate, I'm sitting in the professor's office, who I've had built up a good relationship with. And I said, "Can you write me the letter of recommendation to go to Washington, D.C.? And he said, "Chris, you should become a teacher." Of all the things he's known about me. At that very moment, I said, "No way, I don't want to be a teacher." But 6 months later, after getting rejected from all those jobs that I wanted, that came back in my brain. You should become a teacher. So, how do we sum this video up? Going back to the guidance counselor at the local high school in March 1998. Do you really think you could get a college degree? That same fire still burns in my soul and my guts to this day. I will never forget what he said to me that day. So now, in conclusion, the friend who told me you should become a teacher, the church guy who told me you should become a teacher, the profound professor who told me you should become a teacher, and the mentor who I met at a local job back in 2006, you might want to take a public speaking class. And that public speaking class changed everything. So in conclusion, I booked a flight, and on January 11th, 2015, I booked a flight. I sold all my things. And the only person who really supported me was my father and my family. So shout out to my father and a few special people, you know who you are. So that's how I became a teacher. And that's the video. I hope if this video is giving you any value for money, please hit that subscribe button, and I will continue making the best honest videos I can make. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.